So here we are again, another one of my vinyl record collection videos. Nobody asked for it, nobody's clamoring for my top 25 on Discogs. I am an unknown member of the vinyl collecting community. It's not really collecting, it's listening, buying records and listening to them. Some people are stamp collectors. They just buy everything, every flavor, every version, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I actually listen to this music. And so, here is my top 25 most valuable on Discogs. Now, almost everybody that does this type of video, they have to, say that Discogs is not the be-all, end-all for the value of, you should try Pop Psych, you should check for what things are going on eBay, etc., etc. Also, the conditions, the highest price sold might be an autographed or has something special about it. So, another thing I want to mention is that the diversity of the types of bands in the last few weeks literally have shrinked in my top 25 most valuable on Discogs. For some reason, a whole bunch of the same bands floated to the top, selling for the highest price. So you're going to see some over and over again. I did skip over box sets. I just skipped over things that were not a lot of bootlegs, which on Discogs, if they have limited sales history or they were cut from being sold, it's really hard to tell what their value at. But so let's start out with Am I supposed to start at number 1? No, I'm supposed to start at 25. So at number 25 is the Cramps, Psychedelic Jungle. This is on IRS Records, released May 1981. It is the US version. I did purchase this. Around then I purchased it new. It's in pretty damn good shape. It has the orange inner sleeve, and it's got the advertisement for t-shirts and so forth. So I had been a fan. Somebody had talked me into listening to the Cramps in the late 70s, and I was like, what's this garbage? Oh wow, I really like it. So I started buying the records, went to see them live, saw them at City Gardens. Great show, wow. So I've been a fan. I still listen to this day to my Cramps records. Coming in at number 2, number 24, so I'm going to lose track, I'm sorry. So, let's see. According to Discogs, I'm not good at this. According to Discogs, the highest it went for is $112, and the median was $64. Alright, so the next one up in line, I'm going to stop saying 24, 23, because I lose track. I don't have any notes here. Is Chrome, Half Machine Lip Moves, on Siren Records, 1979 US release. I did purchase this new. I purchased it when it came out. I was a big Chrome fan for at least a year before this. I did have Alien soundtracks before I bought this. Somewhere in there I bought the Visitation, so I didn't buy Visitation first. I wasn't that early of a Chrome fan. Probably 76, 77, 78 I started. But anyway, this one clocks in at highest on Discogs at 116, medium 45. Now, this has the poster. It's a big poster. Which I had this hanging up in my wall when I was a teenager. And also, it has the The hype sticker, I taped it to the inner sleeve, and there's the inner sleeve to their second album, which the second album has a printed inner sleeve, so I just taped it in here, and of course, not knowing about the Scotch tape back then, it kind of yellowed and everything, so it looks ugly. But anyway, I have the original hype sticker for this. And when around the same time I got into the Cramps, probably a little earlier, I became a Chrome fanatic. I just, everything, they were the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, that was it. I mean, they were huge. So I followed them ever since. Became a big fan. Same with the Butthole Surfers, the next on this list, Psychic Powerless. Another, they have an apostrophe, they used to say, another man's sock. I was corrected, I'd say another man's sack, and they're like, no, it's another man's sock. But this is on Touch and Go, 1984. This went for highest on Discogs, 123. I'm not talking about the change here, just the dollar amount. And medium, 68. So I bought this new. I bought both of my copies new. I have the black, and I have the clear. And this is the clear that went for that much. Now, I was into the Butthole Surfers. Probably before they had their first EP, those two, The Brown Reason to Live and that live PCP Pep, and I bought them as they came out. And so when this came out, I was like, oh, finally a full album. Because what I did with their first two EPs is I put them on one side of a cassette tape, and that was my full Butthole Surfers album at the time. We didn't have one. Saw them live many times in the early to mid 80s, as late as 1993. So they're also one of my big faves. Now, next up, this band used to be a lot more on a lot different records in the top 25, like the Do Re Mi, which it got pushed down. So this is Hawkwind, Love in Space. It's a double live album, 1996, on emergency broadcast. I'm not going to open this up. It's got the silly sticker, but anyway, and here's the original price sticker, $21.99. So that's what it went for then. And now it goes for, on Discogs, $125 and medium $68. So this one just shot up into my top 25 out of nowhere. So the earlier stuff used to be in my top 10, top 15 or whatever. Now it's some of the later stuff. So here's a band like some of the others. I discovered the Swell maps in my car, late 70s, and I was listening to the local college radio station, and they played this record. I was like, wow. I called them up. I was like, what is that? Is that like Hawkwind on Quaaludes or something like that? Because they played Gunboats. And I went out and bought this, and then I bought Jane from Occupied Europe when that came out. So this came with the 45, the printed inner sleeve. Many of the former Swell mappers went on to have solo careers, but this is now become a underground classic. Swell maps, A Trip to Marineville, and it went on Discogs for $131. Medium went for $50. By the way, I was just getting ready to press record to do this thing when all of a sudden there's all this noise, and all these fire vehicles went down the block, and I guess the fire's somewhere else, but they passed by here, so I had to turn the camera off. Anyway, I hope they don't pass by again blaring, and I hope the people, whoever's house it is they're okay. Next on my list is Robert Ashley, Private Parts. This is on Lovely Music, 1978. And this record, I went nuts over. I listened to the local college radio station, and they would play, there's like one thing on each side. Like, it's not a song, but it's like a story, or, it's Robert Ashley. What do you want? And so I just had to have this. There's no way I was going to find this at the chain stores or whatever. So I called around. I found a record store deep in Philadelphia on Baltimore Avenue. They had it. I drove down there and got a lot of other records while I was there. But this is it's been played a few times. It is in spectacular mint condition. It's not like the type of record that you would be playing like every day. Maybe you would, but I wouldn't. But I loved it. So this went on Discogs for $137 and the medium $89. So Robert Ashley, and it was a few years ago. It was reissued with the same artwork, and that one's going for. I think that one's going for a little bit. So. Next, I just did an OCs videos, and I just did an OCs collection video, and this was on it. And this is OCs, the 12-inch synth, released on Castle Face, 2019. This is limited edition on purple vinyl. And it is, this one's spanking mint. It went on Discogs for $139 and medium $100. So this is going to be probably getting harder and harder to find. Limited run. I think it was only released on LP and cassette, if I'm not mistaken. So no other vinyl versions of this. And so, anyway, I talked about it a little bit more on my OCs video. Check it out on my channel. It's the last video, probably the last video uploaded. Now, for all you traditional rock fans, you'll be happy to know that this guy with all this obscure stuff has a Pink Floyd collection. As a matter of fact, they make it. I think they're in here twice in my top 25. So this is the wall. I bought this, I was kind of, hit or miss on this in the late 70s when it came out. A lot of people were like, old Floyd fans were like poo-pooing it. And I was like, yeah, okay, So I eventually said, you know what, probably early 80s, got probably a used copy. And it was probably a few bucks back then. But now, it's this went on Discogs, highest on Discogs, 140, and medium was 30. So the 140 is probably, because of that stretch there, probably an unusual circumstance. So this was the 1979 U.S. whatever Pittman plant. It has the little sticker, as opposed to not having the name. So I broke down and bought it a few years after it came out, and I'm glad I did. Next is, I picked this up new. It wasn't, I got into the Sparks mid 70s probably, so I didn't know about the Half Nelson. We didn't have the internet back then. It was the olden days with like rotary phones and car windows that like went like this. And so this is Half Nelson, and it's on the Bearsville, 1971 U.S. This went for, I'm going to get this out of the way, went for 145, highest on Discog. This is a recent edition, this version, a recent edition of Discogs, medium 94. And the reason it's a I couldn't find my version of Half Nelson on Discogs because it has the record itself has sparks on it, not Half Nelson. That they released this as Half Nelson, then re-released the album with different artwork as Sparks. So they must have had covers left over. The Matrix didn't work out with any version. I thought maybe I mistakenly put the first Sparks. I have several Sparks first album. I put that in here, and the Half Nelson was in one of those by accident. I don't know why I would do that. But anyway, I looked it up. I asked a question on Discogs. A year or two later, somebody put up this as a separate version. And I said, well, okay, they must know what they're talking about. And now it's valuable. It's probably rarer than the original Half Nelson because it has a mixture of the Half Nelson cover with the Sparks, the later Sparks record inside. So, the next one is one that really just recently shot up into my top list. Never really didn't seem to have much value, and I got this new, and I got it when it came out. This is Joy Division Still, UK factory. This is the it's not textured, but it has the embossing and inside, and it's got little folders where the records kind of slide in. So this went for $149 on Discogs, and the medium was $39. So that was probably an exception. The $149 was an exception. This is in really nice shape. Other than one time somebody said, let me see that. They grabbed it with their greasy thumb, and I kind of slightly wiped it. But other than that, it's in a pretty immaculate shape. All the corners are still sharp. So I don't really care with Joy Division. I don't care what it's worth. I enjoy it. This is really good music, and I like the studio album is one of my favorite records of all time. Now, you also weren't expecting to see this, probably weren't, but although whenever I talk to people that call them vinyls and stuff and don't know anything about records, and they call this media, they say, do you have any Beatles? And I'm like, no, I forgot I had this. Somebody gave this to me like probably the early 80s. So it's Meet the Beatles, US, Capitol Records, went for $149, highest on Discogs, and 19. So even though it's in really nice shape, that's probably the 149 is probably an aberration. This is at least VG plus. You can see usually there's like kids write their name on the back. It's pretty unmolested. And I can't say I listen to it a lot, but I do. I will play it. And when I was little, in the late 60s, early 70s, I had a bunch of Beatles records. I don't now, but I had this. Next one is unexpected recent shoot up into the top 25. My top 25 on Discogs is John Cale, The Academy in Peril, U.S. Reprise release. $150 tops on Discogs. $48 is the medium. So the thing with this is an Andy Warhol created cover. It's got his rubber stamp there, and it has the die cut sleeve. The records, it's in other than the cutout, the stupid. I really always hated that. The cut corner, it's in really nice shape. So I'm sure that brings the value. The fact that it's got a cut corner brings the value down. But $150 on Discogs, not bad for a record that it's not up there with my most played John Cale records, but I do like it. And I own it, so there you have it. Here's one that earlier this year, Gedalia Tazartes died. Oh crap! It's got these friggin' one of those sleeves. Gedalia Tazartes, Diasporas, came out in 1979 in France on Cobalt label. This went for highest on Discogs, 153, medium 83. So I managed to score an original pressing of this. I also have the, I think it's Dias Records reissue from, I forget when, but anyway, it's numbered. So this is it's in really nice shape. I got a great deal on this. The Discogs seller said, complimented me. He listed it, and I guess I bought it I bought it as soon as it was listed, and he complimented me on a nice deal. I got a nice deal. I guess he realized he sold it for too little. So I also did a video on my Gedalia Tazartes record collection, which you can find on my channel. And once I discovered Gedalia, that was it. I was a goner. So I started getting everything by him, and there's still stuff after he passed away. I think it was February this year. Still stuff retrospectively, coming out by him. Here's one that I didn't expect to see in my top, and it's a Lou Reed. I don't think I bought this new. I probably bought this used for a few dollars, probably in the 70s. Lou Reed Transformer. It's the US RCA Victor. It's got like the gold, kind of a gold metal printing. It's not, gold color. It's like, kind of gold, whatever. And so this I picked up. I mean, these Lou Reeds were always going for like a few dollars and everything. So I got it for like next up. Well, on Discogs says 159 is the highest and 32 is the medium. So it's as you can see, it's in fairly nice shape. It's got some ringwear and a flex label. So this and his first album are my favorites by him. I did listen to in the 70s a lot of his records. My brother had all of his stuff, and I kind of like his other stuff, but these are the ones that I would listen to. His first one in Transformer. I got this in the 70s, probably not too long after it came out. It's got the little, it has a little saw cut. And it's the Canadian Iggy Pop, Lust for Life, RCA, 1977, Canada. It's highest Discogs sale, $160, medium, $50. So it's other than the little saw cut and the bend because it was weakened by the saw cut, it's in immaculate shape. So $160, I think. Other than the little saw cut here, this would get, I could probably sell it for close to that, between 50 and 100. Who knows? I'm not going to, but and here's some people, I've been watching videos on YouTube recently about how ridiculously high records are, turning around for within minutes and within weeks of release and so forth. Here's one. This is this year, released in Austria. It's the John Dwyer, Witch Egg, John Dwyer, and a bunch of other. This was covered on my OC's video. It's the reverse cover. It's a silkscreen cover, and the skull is facing the opposite way. The insert, it's numbered. I believe it is Rock as Hell Records. Let's see. I think it's 66 copies. 66 number copies. And the highest it went for on Discogs is 160, medium 135. Now, of course, I think it was sold for like probably $20 when it was new earlier this year. Maybe 25, but I think it was 20. And wow, So I got the black vinyl, but it was the only cover with the reverse printing, and I thought, well, I like that. It's different than all the others. All the fancy flavors of the vinyl. I decided I want the one of the hardest ones to get, 66 of. Paid the same price, and it went up in value. So if I was a flipper or an investor, I would have made out good. Here's another one they've been bumping. This Hawkwind record's been bumping my older Hawkwind records off the charts, off my charts. And this is Hawkwind Alien 4 1995 on Emergency Broadcast System. It went for highest 164, medium 95, so it's obviously not going to be an easy find. This one is absolutely mint, 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 mint. I had the CDs. I had at least one CD of this. This is a UK pressing, and so I listened to this CD mostly and left the record alone. And there's no imperfections on the sleeve or the record. I probably played it a few times, but back then the convenience of CDs outweighed bothering your records. So Hawkwind Alien 4, $164, highest on Discogs. Here's one that you would expect to be on the top. And this is a Pink Floyd, The Pipers at the Gates of Dawn. It's a U.S. Tower, the Scranton. The highest on Discogs is now 166, and medium 110. So I picked this up in high school in the mid-70s when I had discovered Pink Floyd, and this is a stereo. And at the time, I paid I joke and say I paid the princely sum of $10 for this record, which was a lot then for a used record. It's in pretty good shape though. And now it's going for a lot more. I did not buy it for investment. Had I been buying Pink Floyd for investment, I wouldn't have got the nice pair, and then I would have got the original Saucerful of Secrets. That'd probably be worth something. And I also wouldn't have bought that budget. The two Syd Barrett records. Once I had those. The Syd Barrett, had I bought, and I would have found them, and I would have bought them back then, probably paid, not much more than this. I'd have some rare collectibles there. But anyway, so I got in early. This was also this is the OCs on my OCs video that I keep mentioning that I just did. This is in pristine condition. Clearly invisible. It's a one single-sided clear on Castle Faces 2018. I pre-ordered this. It's highest sold 169 on Discogs. 100 is the medium. So it's gorgeous, and the record is crystal clear, but it is one-sided. But it's a 16 minutes of blazing glory. Okay, now we're getting to the home stretch here. I got this when it was out, and I was a fan of them back then. Saw them live, Flipper, live several times in the early 80s. And so I got this new. It's on Subterranean Records, 1982, U.S. Generic album, Generic Flipper it's called, and the highest it goes for on Discogs is 180, medium is 60, and it is, other than like a slight quarter bend. A lot of the records I have that I bought new years ago, and I really didn't pay much attention to this, had quarter bends. From just being, it's at the store in the shop, people, grabbing the records and everything. And sometimes I put flyers from shows. Here's a Flippers show flyer. of a gig, early 80s. There's a promo, Subterranean promo. There's like a poster. I think it came with this record. I think it came with this. I don't know. But since I threw a bunch of stuff in here, who knows? So yeah, I saw them. Story about Flipper Show is that me and a friend became like show tapers in like 1981, I think, and taking pictures at shows, and this was like clubs. So, and at clubs we never had problems. This was at City Gardens, Trenton, New Jersey, early 80s, and I had my cassette recorder, or I had the camera, and my friend had the cassette recorder, and somebody in the club came to. We had a table, little table, pretty close to the stage, and I don't think there was a big crowd for Flipper back then, like '82. I don't remember what year it was. And somebody in the management for some reason went and took our camera and cassette recorder, and a third friend went to the band and complained. The band, we talked to the band, and they said, I believe it was Ted. Yeah, Ted said, "What are you doing after the show?" And we said, "I don't know. What do you want to do after the show?" And he said, "You give me a ride. I believe it's to his mother's house in Center City, Philadelphia, and you can have your stuff back." Okay, sure. So we recorded the show. I took pictures, and we got to talk to Ted on that long drive from Trenton, New Jersey, to Center City, Philadelphia. I believe we handed him a tape. We had a garage band at the time, Noise Crap, and we handed him a copy. One of the people in my band kept in contact with him about that, so I'm not going to say any more. But anyway, Flipper, wow, this was turned the rock world upside down when it came out. But I think I said this went for 180 on Discogs and 60 as the medium, in case I forgot. So we've already covered Chrome. They're also overrepresented here, but not undeserving. This is Alien Soundtracks, and I got this new. I got it in '77 on Siren Records US. Let me just get this so I don't forget. This went recently on Discogs for $198 and $85 as the medium. So there are, I think this has a printed inner sleeve, and it's got the Pat Stevens insert. Pat Stevens, for some reason, we don't understand why he doesn't like buttermilk, and nobody's been able to explain that. So I have this, and the only other version of this early version was, I think, an '83 expanded music Italian. I have that too. So, so I made a good choice, and it's this Alien Soundtracks, Half Machine Lip Moves are my two favoriteest Chrome records in the world. I was living at home. I was a teenager. I was playing this record, and I was in the basement playing one of those old wooden things, console things, and my mother came walking by and said, she stopped and said, if you're watching, you'll remember, you might not remember this. She said, she stopped, she looked stunned, she said, she's confused, she said, do people pay for this? You paid for this? To, like, you couldn't understand why anybody would like pay money to listen to this crap, this noise crap. So she was stunned. I guess there's an older generation. So moving up, Velvet Underground. At first, I wasn't really big on the Velvet Underground in the '70s. I really got into Cale, Lou Reed, and then so I backtracked in the '70s and started buying Velvet Underground records. This is White Light, White Heat. This is according to Discogs, a 1970 reissue and repress on Verve. and it went for $199 on Discogs, and the medium $54. So I was at there used to be around here. There aren't anymore, like marts, where it's like a building, and then inside there's like canvas stalls, with canvas barriers in between stalls. And this guy was selling records, and I got this for $4, and it's in really good shape. I don't think this copy would go for $199 as it did on Discogs, but you know what? It looked a lot worse then than it does now. I don't know if you can see, it's got a little bit of ring wear. Otherwise, it's pretty good. Sounds pretty good too. So, I did have the first Velvet Underground, which I paid $20 for. I can't show you because I sold it on eBay. I needed money. And there's a lesson for you. You'll always have debts, but you won't have your rare records that you sold on eBay. Anyway, I had the first Banana record with the Banana 100% intact. The thing was mint. It was the mono release. It had the band cover. Got it for $20 in the early '80s. I guess, whatever, and then sold it for a lot of money, but it'd be a lot more right now, and I'd actually rather have it. So we've talked about Dead Kennedys, and I saw Dead Kennedys a lot of times in the early '80s. So this is Frankenchrist, which I bought new, and had I known, it's, I guess if we had a time machine, we'd go back and I would have bought a stack of these because they weren't hard to find. Dead Kennedys, Frankenchrist, Alternative Tentacles, 1985 US. I bought it new. Highest on Discogs, $199. Medium, $39. But this is spankin' mint. The cover's spankin' mint. And the record is really nice. Back then, what I would do is when I bought a new record, a lot of times I would take like 2 records by the artist and put it on a 90-minute cassette. Not so I could save wear and tear on the record, but because I could hear it in the car. We didn't have CDs then. So this is the one with, it had the warning sticker because of the poster inside. Here's the advert that came with it. I'm not going to show, I'm going to let you peek at the thing. I don't know what, there's the Geiger, whatever the hell it's called, poster. So it has that. And I was naughty because when I was at a mall, I saw this record. This is how, like I said, this wasn't hard to get back in the day. And I was at like a mall, on a record store, in a mall, chain store, and I zipped this open, zipped the, not my copy, but the copy they had in the store, saw the Penis Landscape, whatever, I forget what it's called, the H.R. Geiger poster, and I zipped open a Pat Benatar record and slid it in. So I was naughty back then. So anyway, not something I would do now. So anyway, Frankenchrist, almost $200, and this, I'll tell you what, this is spanking mint, every part of it, and it's complete. So it's not one of these ones that may or may not be worth. Here is one that I did not get when it was released in 1979, Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures. I got it a year later, got it in 1980 because I didn't know about them in 1979. This is a UK factory 79 release, 97, with the texture cover. And the highest on Discogs was 207, medium 140. So it's in really nice shape. It's, I would say, close to near mint. And this is one of the ones that I put on cassette, so the record is barely played. So this one would probably, it's come unglued, so I have to do some work on getting that, just put a line of glue in there. But that's something that can be easily fixed. So a $207 Discog top sale. So we're moving to the top of, I think this is that was number 2. Now this is number 1. So we have to revisit the Dead Kennedys. So I got, as I mentioned, I saw them live a bunch of times in the early 80s. And this is Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables. I got this used. I'm pretty sure I got this used. It's in really nice shape. And it has the poster, the booklet, and it has the picture. The band didn't authorize this. This is 1981 IRS Records. Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables is like the flames, orange flame cover. And this is my highest selling 12-inch. Now I've left box sets out. I have box sets that are higher than a lot of these. So this is $2.99 on Discogs. Highest sold, $89. Medium sold. So I had bought the black and white cover with the censored photo first. I got that new. I still have that. And then I saw this. And at the time, early 80s, I picked it up used probably for a few bucks. Wasn't a big deal. Now it's, I would say this is in the condition it's in, would get, up in the higher amount. So that's the thing with Discogs, is that somebody mentioned they call these listings, you see records listed $20, $20, $20, then you get down towards the higher, for the people that are selling, $300, $150. They're the aspirational prices, they call them. I think some people just, they set and forget. They just say, you know what, I'm going to put it in here for $150 and one day it'll be worth that and I won't have to think about it and it'll sell when it finally gets up to that. I think some people just don't want to sell their records and they make things too high when you can get, similar ones for a lot less. I don't know. It's hard to say. But anyway, needless to say, I use Discogs to catalog my records. I'm pretty close to finished. I was very sloppy when several years ago when I started cataloging in Discogs, and what I did was I skipped all my Motorhead records because I just couldn't figure out. I was new to it, and I couldn't figure out which listing it was to say add it to my collection, and so things like that I skipped entire or individual records because I couldn't find it. Now there's like a learning process that I didn't know that at the very bottom of all the listing was the unknown year. So I'm looking up here for 1979, 1978, and I didn't know there was, at the very bottom, I'm thinking, why would I search down in 2019, 2018 stuff? But then I found that, and that helped me find stuff. But at the very beginning, I didn't know stuff like that. And a lot of my records weren't even, the version I had weren't even on Discogs. CDs too, a lot of cassettes. So I had to actually create a listing so I could put it on there. This is a completely different version. So only one has been challenged out of all the ones that I've added. Steve Swindle's promo copy, because it's not different than the regular pressing because it only has stamps and stickers. I don't know. Somebody challenged it and the votes were to keep it up there. So all of my listings have stayed, and I guess I did right in the Discogs community. Anyway, if you like this video, if you like this channel, hit like, subscribe, help me out. I don't know what you're helping me out do. I got demonetized when they changed all the rules and everything. So whatever. I never promoted this channel. I just has kind of been like, this is like a junk drawer channel. I do whatever I happen to think of. So this is not to make money. I'm not going to make money from it. I actually did make a little bit when it was monetized years ago. But that was short-lived. And I just do this for fun. I don't collect records like a stamp collector. I actually play them. and I don't play. I'm not one of these people that plays 10 records a day and stuff. I get home from work, I might throw a side on. And what I do is I make myself, I pick out something that I just haven't heard in 20 years or 30 years or 10 years or whatever. I don't play it. So in between the stuff I really want to hear, I'm burning to hear it's something new. I make sure I say, no, today you got to listen to something you haven't. And you know what? I remember why I bought it. Because to tell you the truth, I sold a lot of records that I didn't listen to. I also sold a lot of records that I did like when I needed money, and I really regret that. So I'm coming back to this, and as a warning, you really, really, like, I could not afford like that Velvet Underground, that original mono pressing with the band back cover. Just couldn't. I mean, I guess I could save up for one, but that's gone. I had Vandergraaf Generator, Aerosol, Gray Machine, US promo with the wrong songs on it. I sold that at the same time I needed money. I don't think I could afford that now. I guess I could save up for it. It's not, that much, but it's, $100, $200, $300 now. So, hey, buy vinyl, whatever format you like. This is what I say. Play the music. Don't worry. On Facebook, there's like vinyl enthusiast groups, and people always ask the question, "What should I play today?" Or should I get the repress? Or you know what? Just get whatever you. If you're a music lover, just buy whatever you want. Buy CDs, buy vinyl, buy cassettes. If you stream, I don't really stream. I do go on YouTube to listen to records that I've never heard to see what it sounds like, to sample them, but not as I don't have any. I've never had like an iPod. I've never had a device that plays MP3s or anything like that. So they're meaningless to me, other than to sample stuff. Anyway, just whatever you love, however you do it, just do it. I probably talked too long. My last one was the OCs, which about a month or so ago, and it was like an hour and 8 minutes. I actually had to cut stuff out of it to get it down to an hour and 8 minutes. So I might have to do that on this one. Thanks for watching. I realized when I watch other people's vinyl record videos, they introduce themselves. They say, like, this is, like, in the third person. So my name is Bob. I don't think I've ever introduced myself. So I won't say, this is Bob. It's to me, it's kind of strange. And anyway, thank you for watching. That's it. Goodbye. Have a great winter and happy holidays and so forth. Bye-bye.